What up, gang? It's Mang, and I'm back with a new video. I'm doing something different today. I just got back from my Outlaws of Thunderjunction pre-release. We crushed it. I just wanted to fill you in how things went and just give you some feedback on the set in general before you start drafting it. This goes live on Tuesday. The set will come to Arena, and we're going to be putting out drafts left and right. I'm really looking forward to it. But let's jump right into it. So Sealed's a little bit different than Draft. In my opinion, I think it's a little harder because you're working with 6 packs worth of cards that are not hand-picked. In a Draft, you are building your deck as you go. You're building with synergy. In Sealed, you kind of have to make soup with the ingredients that you have. In my opinion, I've struggled in the past more so than in Draft. I think Sealed can be harder at times. But this is what we had for our rares and mythics. Just going left to right. Bristlebud Farmer, an amazing 5/5 trampler for 4, makes 2 foods. You drop some permanents with it when you attack. This card put in a lot of work for us. Seraphic Steed, another card that would make the cut. First Strike Lifelink. That First Strike being a keyword stuck to this card is crucial. Most First Strike cards are, when it's on your turn or whenever you attack, it has First Strike. This being permanent makes it an excellent blocker, as well as an attacker. If you're able to put some counters on it, make it a little bit more scarier than a 2/2. This thing won me a lot of games on its own. With that, Wily Duke, Atlan Hero. This card is not impressive on its own, but in the right deck with the right amount of mounts and creatures that you can actually saddle up, the fact that Wily saddles up for 4 works perfect with the Seraphic Steed. We were able to saddle up just one creature. We don't leave ourselves open for crackback attacks. And we were making Angels, 3/3 flyers. That adds up a lot in Limited. Being able to swing over the top for consistent damage, making more bodies to block with. Wily riding that Seraphic Steed racked up the wins for us. These other 3 cards, they didn't end up making the cut. Kellen joins up, very situational. Enchantment. Didn't want to go into blue. Vanishing Verse, a decent removal spell. But that's if you're in black-white. And then another round, this is simply not worth playing at all in Limited. This is more of a commander or constructed card. So these 3 didn't make the cut. This is what we're riding with. This is, the John Wayne seal of approval here. We got Wily, the Steed, and Bristlebud. This is going to be our top end of our deck. We want to draw these cards, but to fill out the rest of the deck, here's a look at some of the uncommons. We actually dipped ourselves into red. So we're playing Naya. We pulled the Jolene, Plundering Pugilist. Whenever you attack with power 4 or greater creature, you create a treasure token. So that includes herself, obviously, but we were playing a lot of 3-mana 4/2s. We were able to trigger this treasure effect often, which is perfect for splashing a third color between the treasures, some of the deserts that come in tapped. They actually get to pick the color that it comes in as. We were good on fixing with a combination of Jolene and some of our deserts. I love the card Fling. This was one of my favorites from Lord of the Rings. You swing in for 4 or 5 damage in the air, and you can go for lethal more times than not. With that additional damage for 1 in a red, this is a great removal spell, but more so just pushing damage. That's a great card. Rise of the Varmints. This won us 2 games as well. We were trading off creatures left and right early, knowing that we had it in hand. You can actually plot this too if you really don't care if your opponent knows you have this card. Sometimes it doesn't matter. I only plotted it one time, I think, but making 5, 6, 2/1 Varmints at one time after the board has just been cleared, it's just overwhelming. I was going through my backpack looking for 6 tokens to make because I simply didn't have them. And my opponent was like, just forget it. Let's go to game 2. So I appreciate my opponent doing that for the sake of time there. In Sealed, the 50 minutes goes by quick. You got everybody reading the cards. So I appreciate that when opponents know a game's over. Don't drag things out if you don't have to. Lassoed by the Law, your standard enchantment, removes a creature. Actually makes a 1/1 mercenary as well. These mercenaries were great. They pump your flyers. They pump your tramplers. Um, in a bind, you can actually sacrifice them to other cards too. But mercenaries, they're very cool in this set. Much more useful token than other sets. Aloe Alchemist, you plot this, you push damage, and you play it as a 2-mana 3/2 trample. That was an easy make for the deck here. And Frontier Seeker, I played 2 copies of this one actually. So you reveal the top 5 cards when you play it, and that's great because if you do find a plains or a mount creature, you actually get to put it to hand. So it's essentially card draw. You know what you're not going to draw into as well. It's information. So those 4 cards that do end up going to the bottom, it helps you kind of form your game plan. Like, hey, Rise of the Varmints was, shuffled to the bottom of my library. I probably shouldn't be trading off creatures. Just little micro decisions in the game that really paid off for a great sealed event. Rounding out our deck here, you always need some commons. I mean, you're going to be playing the most of these. And we had multiple copies of Iron Fist Pulverizer. It was just a red common. A 4/5 Reacher is enough to slow down enough flyers and some of the scarier dragons, sphinxes in the set. You also get that added benefit of dealing 2 damage and lining up your scry draw. Great common. Your mana dork for this set is the Hard Bristle Bandit. Being able to keep us flexible. We had treasures, we had deserts, we had this mana fixer. Bristle Bandit did great. 2 copies of Outlaw Medic. This was, as you know, my top common for the set. If you saw my short from a couple weeks ago, you put a counter on this, or you give it a keyword. This thing is just hard to get through. 3 toughness is not nothing. There's a lot of deal 2 damage spells in this set, so this thing sticks around. You gain some life, and if you do trade it off or it ends up dying, you get card draw too. So you keep going through your deck. Excellent card. It performed just as I thought. Very well. Gold Pan. This did very good too. I only played 1 copy. It makes a treasure when it enters, so you're kind of getting like 1.5 card value, 2 mana to get a treasure. But being able to shuffle that pan around with 1 for the equip cost was great for throwing on a flyer, throwing on the Outlaw Medic. Gold Pan it's a sneaky good common. I think that's probably the only good equipment I saw in my 5 rounds of playing. I'm definitely gonna be drafting this more on Arena. And then 1, I don't know if this is a good card. It worked well in the situations I was trying to push damage. Stagecoach Security. You can plot this for 1 less, but when it does enter, your whole board gets 1/1 in Vigilance. That is crucial because this is like a very crackback heavy set. Like if I swing in for 10, my opponent, more times than not, he's already plotted something on the turn prior. He's coming back for potentially 14, 17 damage. It's a very swingy set, but having that Vigilance keeps your blockers up. This thing is great. I don't know if it's going to be good in every deck, but if you have enough creatures, you're playing them early and often, I think Stagecoach Security is something I'm definitely going to fill my decks with if I need to. Good card. Just 3 things. What do we learn from this? These are first impressions. Obviously, this is going to change as we continue to play. But the set is slow. We were getting 10, 12, 13 turn games. You got to be patient. You don't want to use all your resources too early or unload your hand because there are board wipes. I believe there's 2 in white and another one in black that is only opponent oriented. So you can really get yourself caught with your pants down if you use all your cards too early. You're not thinking a turn or 2 ahead. These cards, this set in particular, they did really well with rewarding synergy, thinking 2, 3 moves ahead. You got to be patient. Don't swing out every single time. This is not a faster set like Murders or Wilds of Eldraine was. Only attack with safe damage in the early turns. So whether it's a flyer or something that's unblockable, there's a lot of blue unblockable creatures when you commit a crime. Which brings me to my next point. The keyword, the mechanic plot and crime, they are hard to mess up. They are so good, and I think they're so easy to get value out of that I'm going to take as many plot and crime cards going forward. The crime payoffs in particular, you're basically getting rewarded for playing Magic. It's if I target a player, I target a creature, their graveyard even. Any interaction spell triggers a crime, and it's such a broad stroke, easy to do thing. I was playing against an opponent who was, he commits a crime, 2 creatures come in unblockable, and when they do hit you, he gets to draw a card for hitting the player. So like things like that. There's one, commit a crime. I believe there's a 2-drop in black that where when you do commit a crime, you drain your opponent for 1. Like there's just little, nickel and dime effects that crime can provide. In draft, I think you're going to get some nasty outlaw crime decks, but just make sure you're thinking a few moves ahead. And the last one, this is a bomb heavy set. So with play boosters, we're going to see 2, possibly 3 rares and mythics per pack. These bombs are serious. They're not like ones you can ignore, or maybe you would think they were too expensive if you're playing other sets. They are playable. They are game changing. And if you don't have the bombs to match your opponent, you're not in that arms race. You're going to want to have all the removal. Removal is back in a big way. Last set, combat tricks seem to be better value. Trading with disguised creatures. No more. We're back to bombs and removal set. Make sure you're drafting either of those going forward. You just got to be careful because like you let one bomb go unchecked and yeah, you're already going on to the next game. It's just too much to come back from. Event went great. Just like the thumbnail, we went undefeated. You notice we didn't win the event. We got second simply because I went to time in a game that I was probably going to win if I had 2 more turns. But my opponent and I were still figuring out what was what. We didn't play as fast as possible. So I got a draw in round 1, which felt bad, knowing that I probably wasn't going to get first the whole night. But, man, the deck was consistent. I think we only dropped 2 more games the rest of the night. Coasted with the lifelink, the saddle effects. I was surprised. When I made my deck, I felt like this was a C+ at best. But our commons and uncommons really carried us from game to game. We didn't really miss land drops. Everything just went smoothly. But I can't wait to dig into this set more. And when it comes to Arena, I'll definitely be live streaming. We'll really dig into this and crack this set. But here's a look at my loot. I wanted to share my loot with you all. So we got 20 play boosters for winning the event and a nice little gym badge for my local game shop. So I'm racking up a few of these lately. And what do we get with those 20 packs? This is like the worst quality picture, so I apologize for that. But here's a glance at some of the rares we opened. I'll shout out 3 cards in particular. We got our money back with Mindbreak Trap, an amazing pull, Oko the Ringleader, and Final Showdown. Now these cards will probably drop in price right after I post this video just because of all the reprints and people opening the packs more, but not bad. I was happy with the showing, and I can't wait to play more. Let me know what you guys think about the set if you did go to pre-release. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I appreciate you guys watching. It's been a lot of fun making these videos, and share with a friend. Love to hear your thoughts, and till then, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.